What up, Jan? How you doing, man? Can you hear me? The little bee, what's up? Hey, John. Eric. Oh, Eric got a new reel today. Sweet. What'd you get, Eric? Okay, thanks to little bee. Good to know. Howdy, Frank. Great, good. Good deal. How's it going, Ron? Henry, what's up? What's everybody doing? Shimano Corrado 201 DPV. Nice. That's cool. Bryson, John, how's it going? Let me turn this down just a little there. Dude, I fished this afternoon and it was on fire, which is why I don't have anything planned tonight because the fishing was so amazing. Yes, John, I think you're right. I think they will. It'll be my fishing trip. Let's put this up here on the screen. Couldn't get bit on anything moving. Whipped out the Ned rig. Missed 2 bass. Caught 1, 2 bluegill, 1 walleye. That's not bad. That's respectable. Rocco, the fish count has been slow. I did not go out at all this week until today. And I caught 14 today. Let me get my calculator and I'll add it to my total. 336. 336 is where we're at. So we gotta pick up the pace. We gotta pick it up. What's up, Steve? Get your fish on. Speaking of get your fish on, go subscribe to Get Your Fish On's channel if you are so inclined. If you haven't done so yet, you want to see what's new out there, new lures, man. He's putting out videos constantly of every new lure that comes down the pipe just about. Henry's at 83. That's nothing to that's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, today was super hot and hey Tyler, how's it going? I'm working on a summertime fishing video, basically worm fishing for monster bass. And man, today was perfect conditions. It was hot. Get this. I took my dog Andy out. We pull up to the this little lake that I go to that I actually stocked. It's on 500 acres. It's a big isolated piece of property. It's amazing. Anyway, we go out there. Farm grass as far as the eye can see, you know, nice, thick, lush grass. He hops out of the truck, finds the only mud hole probably within 20 miles of there and rolls in it like you wouldn't believe. literally covers himself in mud before we even start fishing. Swak Fishing, how's it going, man? Jeff, what's up, buddy? Hey, Joe, hot in Nebraska too. I heard that even North Dakota had like an all-time record high this week, like 102 degrees for the first time ever up in North Dakota since they've been recording temps. Henry said it peaked at 100 in Iowa. It didn't get that hot here, but it was a hot day. So Goofball's totally covered in mud. I mean, head to toe. And I'm like, geez, Louise. So we get down to the fishing hole, and it's a pretty good little drive through the woods there to get to this fishing hole. And he's just burning up. His tongue's hanging out down to the ground. And I thought to myself, as soon as we get out there, I'm throwing him in the lake because he is covered in mud. And he's not used to that, man. I got out there in the water and just chucked him off into the water, and he went kerplunk straight under. But he's a good swimmer. He was panicked, though. You could tell him. He's like, oh, my gosh, what's happened? What's happened? What's she done to me? It at least got the mud off of him so that he didn't get me all muddy. I know it, man. Dogs are crazy. They are just something else. Sometimes super logical, makes perfect sense what they're doing, and then they just off the wall do something totally insane. I mean, he's not a pig. What's up with rolling around in a mud hole, you know? And not only that, a stinky mud hole. Right on. Illuminathan. Good deal. Glad you got it. Let's see. I saw a question about a kayak on here. I think Jan might have been asking somebody else about a kayak. I thought he was asking me. So I don't know if I've given you guys an update on my kayak or not. Did I update you guys on that? I don't have anything planned tonight, so this is just going to be Q&A, talk about whatever we can think of. Yeah, Eric, you got that right. That's why he went in the drink. I also don't want him. One time we took him out, and he just got covered in ticks from head to toe. And they were super tiny ticks, and then my wife had to take a tweezers and get them all out. It was brutal. So I have to at least keep him somewhat respectable so he can keep going out with me. Boosters in the house. We can get started now. Good deal. Guys are getting prizes, except the Canada boys. I haven't sent their stuff out yet. Illuminathan, I'm going to sign up for some. In fact, I'm signed up for, let's see here. What tournaments did I sign up for? Oh, I signed up for the BASS kayak tournament up on the Mississippi River up north in Wisconsin. And I signed up for a KBF state tournament here in Missouri. So I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to start fishing a lot more of those tournaments. So I'm going to Alaska here in a couple of weeks for a fishing trip. And I'm going to take the camera with me. Normally I go to Canada, but You Canadians don't want any people in your country. Man, I feel for those dudes. I do not know how they've stayed in business. All these guides, man, they're totally completely out of business. They can't get any people in. It's just crazy. Anybody catching any frogfish? I haven't. Well, I have fished with the buzz toad several different days in the last couple of weeks and haven't got a single bite on it. But I haven't fished a hollow body frog. Local boys fishing. I do ship prizes to Canada. I have been for a long time, but I'm probably going to change that coming up here. And the reason is just postage is insane. But I got some loyal Canadian followers here, so I'm not going to punish you guys. What I'm going to do is, yeah, I know you would, Jeff. Jeff's a great Canadian friend of mine now, and we've got quite a few as well. And I can tell you what my plan is here in the near future. I'm still going to do the spin to win for Canadians. You can spin to win just for fun and see what you would have won. And then I'm going to send you a gift card, an electronic gift card, if you win, because postage is insane to Canada. Sorry, guys. For example, you can take one lure, like say you won this awesome pulsator spinnerbait. If you look at the price, $8.99, $9 for this spinnerbait. How much do you think it costs to ship to Canada? Don't answer, Canadians. Let's see if the Americans can figure this out. Pulsator spinnerbait, super light. I can tell you in the United States, this cost me about $3 to mail anywhere in the United States. $3.12. $3.50 to someone really far away. Canada, how much do you think one little spinnerbait costs? We got a 30. No, thank goodness. 10's not high enough. 12.50's not high enough. Eric Brewer's right. $15. $14.95 to ship one spinnerbait. If they do like John Gill and John Smith tend to do, and they win 3 or 4 prizes in one night, that box can cost $60. Matthew's been smashing them on glide baits. Woo! Just got back from fishing, smashed them on the ice slide, 135, caught 3 large bass and a snakehead. Wow. Bent the hooks on the ice slide. Dude, I'd rather the snakehead come off, man. I don't like those snakeheads. I know some guys really like them. So I'm probably going to go the electronic gift card route. Jan actually gave me that idea, believe it or not. So that way my Canadian friends can go buy their own tackle. All right, swak fishing. This is a good question. What do you guys think? Is a $4,000 kayak worth $4,000? Those snakeheads, I remember the first time I saw one, it was down in Florida. I was on a guide trip, and this dude kept a baseball bat. This guide kept a baseball bat in his boat. And if we caught any snakeheads, he killed it with a baseball bat. And apparently in Florida, they want you doing that. They want you to get rid of them. They're considered invasive. And then up on the Potomac River, I fished up there, man. They're everywhere up there. Illuminathan is right. Kayaks have great resale value, SWAC. So if you spend $4,000 on a good kayak, when you get ready to sell it, you're going to get most of your money back. At least that's the trend right now. Matthew says they kill them up there in Jersey. James says they taste great. Hey, Theodore, how you doing, man? Pike are the most evil fish. I like pike. I like catching them, man. They are vicious. But man, when those big ones are really fun to catch. Eric, the shipping was, you were right, $15, $14.95 to ship one spinnerbait. Yeah, well, I don't actually have my kayak in the shop a lot, SWAC. What happened is my drive did malfunction on my Hobie, but I drove the thing for probably, I rode it, I fished in it probably not every day, but every single week for probably 6 months straight without touching it. And never had any problems. And then one day the drive did fail, the mechanism inside the boat. So I took it to my local Hobie shop here. There's only one here in Kansas City. They're great people, by the way. But it was pretty obvious they did not know how to fix it. They'd never had a problem with any boat. They didn't know how to fix it. So they called Hobie. Hobie sent them the parts. They fixed it, and I think they fixed it wrong. I just don't think they knew what they were doing. Then I took it back because it wasn't right. And they had some Hobie factory people come, and the Hobie factory people told them what needed to be done, which required more parts. And I'm waiting on the parts. This is an interesting question too, because I have both. I've got a bass boat and I've got a kayak, and the fishing is so different on a boat and a kayak. It's not apples to apples. It's really comparing oranges with apples. And you've got to kind of decide what you like better. So before you drop a bunch of money on a boat, or before you drop a bunch of money on a kayak, you might want to make sure you fish out of both of them to make sure. What I've found, which seems crazy to a lot of people, but I have enjoyed the kayak fishing so much that I don't take my boat out very often. In fact, I think I'm probably going to sell my boat. And if I want to get back into a bass boat, I could do that later. But especially with my plans to fish more kayak tournaments, I think I'm just going to stick with the kayak. One thing I can tell you, kayaks are way cheaper. A boat is insanely expensive, even if you've got a top of the line boat that you take really good care of. Fuel's insane. Insurance is not insane, but it's unfortunate. Taxes, licensing, repairs, boats require constant maintenance and repair. The Bass Cat's a beautiful boat, Theodora. I love that thing. It's I've got a Cougar. I've never had a lick of trouble out of that thing. I did have a lower unit fail about 4 or 5 years ago and had that replaced. But the boat itself, man, it is top notch. And I've had it out on the Great Lakes. I've had it out at Gunnersville. I've taken it all over the country. And it's just an awesome, awesome boat. But boats are incredibly expensive. Do not fool yourself. Even if you tell yourself, I'm going to get me a cheap boat. I'm going to get me a cheap boat. There's no such thing as a cheap boat, man. Yeah, busted out another 1,000, it says Matthew says. James. Yep. A hole you throw money into. It's really true. It is true, man. So, and the problem with a boat, you know, especially like my boat, I didn't buy it new. I bought it when it was like 3 years old, and I paid like 35,000 for that thing. And a brand new boat just like it today with the same stuff on it would cost you $70,000. It's insane how much boats cost now. And they were doing a deal on Cougars last year for like 64 grand, but it had little tiny fish finders on it. Didn't have any power poles on it. And you know, had a cheaper trolling motor. If you're going to have a big bass boat nowadays, you got to have spot lock. I mean, it's just insane not to have spot lock. Power poles are pretty necessary in certain parts of the world. There are other parts. If you're fishing a lot of offshore fishing, power poles probably aren't worth the money. But the beauty of a kayak, even if you buy a $4,000 kayak, Swak, or whoever it was that asked me that question, once you've bought it, accessories, you know, like rod holders, you might want to get yourself a fish finder. Once you spend the initial money, man, you never have to put fuel in it. You know, I mean, and there's not much that goes wrong with them ever, really. So it makes way more sense. Udder tuggers tied 6-6, top of the 5th. Right on. Where's my udder tuggers hat? Oh. I don't know where it's at. It's up there somewhere. That's good to hear, Dave. There's something really fun about kayak fishing. You know, the beauty of kayak fishing is you can get into really skinny water that you can't get into with a boat. You can also drop your kayak into any little pond or stream. You can't do that with a boat. My check broke a rod. I almost lost a rod last week. It fell in the lake, but I was able to get my paddle and retrieve it. Yeah, Matthew, I got it. Yeah, the only DRT soft plastics I have, I've got the working class 0 ones, the Citizens. And I've got 1 or 2 battle shads, but that's it. They're hard to get, man. And they've done a lot better job of setting up their sales so that most people get it. It really burned me because people would buy these things and then resell them on eBay. And then guys like us that want them to fish with couldn't even get them. Really? So this is funny. There are lakes that charge you, you know, to use your boat ramps and stuff. I think my local lake up here still charges to use the kayak on the lake because what they charge you for is your vehicle. And you have to buy a vehicle pass for the year. So I think even with the kayak, you can't get out of that here. Yeah, Illumination. I watch a lot of them. I watch Tactical Bassing. I watch Debo some. I'll watch a lot of them actually. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to Dark Waters podcast lately. He's got a pretty good, it's all about kayak fishing, and he usually just interviews somebody that's kayak fishing every week. So yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, Frank, I have lights on my kayak, some LED lights. That's how you can kind of get your kayaks more expensive, stuff like that. But one thing I have learned is depending upon, you need to be very familiar with, have I ever seen Cabot? No, I have not. Nope. I've not seen it, Lucas. I have seen some SUPs, stand-up paddle boats, and there's more of those coming out. Like Hobie just came out with one that's pretty sweet. And but when you're looking at, let's see, World's Worst Fishing, yeah, I like old Richard Gene, the Fishing Machine. He's good. There's another guy up there in North Dakota, Yak Angler. I like him quite a bit. Yeah, Illuminathan. I watch Greg Blanchard too. He's cool. He's good. In fact, he put a post up a few weeks ago about some dudes basically blowing right by him on a bass boat in the Delta while he was fishing a tournament, and really just, it was really, really uncool what these dudes were doing to him. They were cutting him off and they were blowing by him, and creating these big wakes that blew over him. And when he showed the video, lo and behold, it was a dude in a bass cat. I was like, come on, man. So I'm on a couple of bass cat fishing, bass cat boat forums, and I put that video up and kind of called the guys out, said, come on, dudes, we can do better than that. It's ridiculous. For some reason, there's not everybody, but there's definitely guys in bass boats who think they own the lake. They have no respect for kayaks. They look at them as kind of pariahs. Machek, North Dakota Yak Angler has an amazing channel. All he does is catch fish. He doesn't do any other videos. What makes his videos really good, though, is he's got super clear water up there. And a lot of those catches, you can actually see the fish in the water hit his lures. And, man, they're good. In fact, one of his monster bass is on. Speaking of monster bass, I told you guys about the tournament, man. You guys need to get on that tournament. Big fish tournament, little fish tournament. I think they're calling it the big fish tournament. But dude, this is a great opportunity to get in the game, get in the fishing game, and you can win some great prizes. And I think it's a awesome idea that Rick at Monster Bass has come up with. So I'm really pumped up about fishing that tournament. And if you go watch his videos, he's not just giving away little this and that, a bait here and a bait there. I mean, he's giving away some amazing prizes. So I'm super excited about that tournament, and you guys should be too, because even if you don't subscribe, it only costs $10. And if you're a subscriber, it's free. Geez, I don't know of any tournament out there where you can win the kind of stuff they're giving away for free. All you got to do is fish and submit your fish catch on Tourney X. It's an app. Speaking of monster bass, I created a video today for the Monster Bass channel that I'm going to be sending to them on summertime worm fishing. And I had an amazing day catching I caught a giant. I caught a giant on a 10-inch worm today. And then I caught a bunch of other little fish. That's going to be a great video. You guys are going to have to check that out. Hey, speaking of jet skis, did you guys see old Christine Fisher fish that jet ski tournament? I think it was at Lake Powell in Utah. They got jet skis set up for fishing now, man. They've got they don't have a trolling motor, but they have a propulsion with their normal motor that's kind of holds you in place. It is insane. It was a great. She's a heck of a fisherwoman. She's amazing. She seems like doesn't matter where she goes, she can catch them. Here she goes. She just flies out there. I guess they invited her. She doesn't have any practice time. She has to borrow all of her rods and reels and all that stuff because she flies out there and she comes in second place. That fishing Sea-Doo is awesome. I was like, dude, I got to get a fishing Sea-Doo. Mr. Bass, where do you fish around KC? There's a lot of local lakes, Booster. Smithville Lake is probably the biggest one around here. And it's a flooded reservoir. All of the lakes in Missouri are man-made flooded reservoirs, basically. It's got a bunch of timber. It's got grass. It's got bass, largemouth. It's got walleye in it. It's got crappie. It's not bad. Yeah, Illuminathan. She can skip baits pretty good. There's a ton of other smaller lakes. You probably haven't really heard of them, I would guess. And then not too far from here, of course, is Lake of the Ozarks. A little further is Table Rock Lake. And then there's some other nice bigger lakes around here, like Stockton Lake, Pomme de Terre is another lake. There's quite a bit of fishing here, really. There's definitely enough. And then I fish a lot of ponds and smaller lakes. We've got our conservation department in the state has a ton of great little lakes that are too small for boats. You can put a yak in them and fish them, and they've got pretty good fishing in them for the most part. In fact, I fished. Stockton Lake's great. The Little B. It's one of my favorites. I also made another video. I think I may have told you guys Wednesday out at a conservation lake here. It's called Watkins Mill. Fishing the thunder cricket and a bunch of trailers that came out of my Monster Bass box. And that was a really fun video too. Dude, with that thunder cricket, you guys know I'm a big chatterbait fisherman, and the thunder cricket is a great bait. It's probably one of my 3 favorite chatterbaits out there. And you can get a great deal on thunder crickets over on the Monster Bass website for, $36 for 4 of them. That's $9 a piece. That's a steal. They also come in the boxes on a regular basis. So I like doing that. I like taking those boxes and fishing with the product and seeing how they do. The other thing that was in that box that I surprised me some. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of the color changing lures. And I fished with some of those and they were doing great. So I don't know if the color mattered, but I put one of these smart baits, swim baits on the back of that Thunder Cricket, and man, it was slaying them. And really, really good bait. So I might be changing my mind. I still don't know if the color thing matters, to tell you the truth. But I definitely like that bait. Yeah, listen to Steve. Color doesn't matter. Oh, man. He's the expert. Look at. Well, what's funny is that smart bait swim bait, if you keep it out of the water for very long, it kind of turns a natural color. I like that color. You put it in the water and it turns red. I'm like, I don't want a red swim bait. But the water was super, super dirty. Chocolate milk, muddy water. So I put that swim bait on a green pumpkin Thunder Cricket. And I thought, well, as dirty as the water is, it's a super dark red. I thought maybe they'll see it better. And they did, man. They slammed that red swim bait. It was crazy. So I'll have to fish the worms next and check them out. What bugs me slightly is they don't tell you what color it's going to change to when it gets in the water. I'd like to know that. You know, because even though Steve thinks color doesn't matter, I think it does matter. I really like to know what color I'm throwing in the lake. I just think knowing what color you've got is a good idea. How'd you guys like the Wednesday night show? Our beginner show. A lot of you guys are not beginners, but you guys are really helping out in the comments, because there was a lot of young guys asking questions, newbie questions, and you guys were really helping out. I really enjoyed that show, and it went by really fast. So what we're doing next Wednesday is we are doing a classic preview show. The Bassmaster Classic is coming up. It's right around the corner. So we are going to do a classic preview show this Wednesday night. Get your fish on, and I. This is good to know. Red is one of the strongest colors that balls are attracted to. It's a combo of rods and cones. I don't think he means balls there, but maybe. Yeah, check that out. This dude, I can't believe we're going to have Ken Duke on. That's going to be amazing. I mean, this guy is a fishing genius. He knows so much about tournament fishing. It is not even funny. He knows everybody. All right. Booster says bass, not ball. Hank, you're right. He is the knowledge guru. He was just on Bass Talk Live the other night. Did you guys listen to that show? It was incredible. I was just mesmerized the whole entire show listening to Ken Duke. Man, the dude knows so much. So that's going to be an awesome show Wednesday night. I mean, basically, I don't even need to be on the show. If you got Ken Duke on, man, gosh, that's going to be great. So we're pretty hyped up about that show. It's going to be a fun one. All right. Let's see. What am I probably ought to look at my questions here. See what questions I'm going to throw at you guys tonight. I got some good lures, I think, for name that lure part of the deal. That's going to be fun. Okay, Brandon, I want to talk to you about this a little bit. You probably are using lures wrong, some lures wrong. It's really easy to get things messed up. Hey, Gary, glad you're on the show, man. Glad to see you. Better late than never. Anyway, one problem I think is that there's so much out there now that sometimes guys, I think, try too many different things, and you're way better off picking just a handful of basic lures and fishing only with those, and ignore everything else that's coming out on the market, everything else that people are talking about, and just get good at those few basic techniques, few basic baits. And once you master those, then you'll have a foundation. You'll have a foundation of lures that you're comfortable with and that you feel confident fishing with. And then you can start adding others to it. Hey, Nick, how's it going, man? You're out on the lake. Sweet. But yeah, Machek was having the same problem. He was telling us about some of the lures. He felt like, man, am I ever going to get a bite? And you just got to pick a few basic techniques and fish with them. What kind of places do you fish? Do you fish ponds, lakes? And what part of the country are you in? North, South, Midwest? And I could probably give you some ideas. Other guys on here too could, of maybe some basic things you ought to just stick with for at first. Okay, mostly reservoirs in Minnesota. All right, so up there in that part of the world, do you have a lot of grass? Yeah, Eric, I was wondering myself. I haven't heard from Clint in a while, and I don't know where he's at. I'd sure like to see him on the show again. Yeah, okay, Brandon. If you got a fair amount of grass, a chatterbait is a fantastic lure in the grass, near the grass, around the grass. Another great lure that a lot of guys up in Minnesota throw in and around the grass is a swim jig. You could start with those two baits and just fish those for a while, and you do really well. And then you need some sort of a soft plastic lure. I know they fish with a lot of tubes up there. You also could fish with swim baits, little swim baits. Don't get the big ones. Get small swim baits that the smallies really will smash. And then go watch a bunch of videos about those lures. And don't try anything else until you really get good at those lures. Definitely don't buy an eye slide, Brandon. That's way, way, way out there, man. Yeah, Frank says a rattle trap. A rattle trap's another one that works good in the grass. David saying, try out that Ned rig. If you're in a lot of grass, though, then you need to, you're going to have to go with some sort of weedless presentation on that. Yeah, Brandon. You go into any place like Shields and there's just a million choices. It's just too much. Matthew's telling you to try an eye slide. Holy cow. This is an eye slide, Brandon. Do not buy one of these. Do not. Not a good choice right now for you. Maybe in the future. All right, Maciek needs to win a red crankbait, so we better do a question here. Let me see what I got here. Okay, first question. I think I'll do my baseball hat. So get ready. Get ready. Psh. Oh man, I pulled an oldie but goodie out. Booster. Breaking out the brush hogs. That's beautiful, Win. Uh-oh. Dude. Maciek, it looks like you won, dude. I mean, you kind of messed it up, but you kind of got it right. You left stuff out. It's the Rocket City Trash Pandas. So Rocket Pandas, I think, works. How about that, dude? You were first. Of course, we could spin the wheel and you could get the red X, and then, you know, the Mr. Bass show can be very cruel at times. I don't know. I hope that doesn't happen. Yeah, how about that? Maciek said he needed to win. We said let's spin so he can win, and he actually got it. Is that crazy or what? All right, Maciek, let's spin for you. All right. I know what you want. You want a hard bait. You want a hard lure, right? You want a crankbait. I don't normally dig through here and look and see, but I will get you a crankbait. How's that? All right, Maciek, here it is. Excite Baits XB1. This came out of the Monster Bass box, actually, one of them. This is a really good crankbait, by the way. These are premium. This bluegill color is a really good color too. It's called Bluegill Supreme. So it's not red, sorry. I'll check. Right. But I got to get you a ticket to put in the drum for the drawing. Never feed raccoons or they will shut. We're on a raccoon talk. Yeah, trash pandas. That's what happens. Okay, my check. I'm filling out a deal for you. Yeah, my check. It's the square bill. The XB1 is a square bill. It also has a loud knocker in it. All right, here's your ticket. Putting it in the drum. You got the trash pandas. We got 2,000 subs left in Illuminathan. 2,000 to go. Hey, Mark, welcome. Good to see you, man. Yeah, get your fish on. It did. It came out of the Monster Bass box. All right. Good job, Machek. You're having a good night. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, you're right, man. That bait ball is a big lure. Speaking of big lures, yeah, I'm all for that, Nathan. We need to get her to blow up. Okay. Here's the next deal I'm going to do. Name that lure. I'm going to do a big lure. You just got to tell me the name of the lure. It has a specific name. I don't care about the company. You can put the name of the company in here if you want, but I just want the name of this lure, what it's called. All right, here it is. What is this called? Summertime fishing. It's a summertime lure. James, you got it, buddy. It's the 10XD by Strike King. It's right on the bill there. See it? 10XD. This is a beast. If you're fishing deep in the summertime, you got to have one of these. You got to have one of these. They're amazing. They're huge. Listen to that one. They're huge. You can't get many of them in your tackle box, that's for sure. But they are essential. And this happens to be my favorite color. I don't know the official name. I just call it a blueback. Blueback. I don't know if we can block him or not and get your fish on. That's a good question. Can I block someone in this thing. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can. I'm going to put him in timeout. Let's see what that does. Okay, I put him in timeout, guys. There you go. All right, James, we got to get you a ticket. And then we've got to spin. Here's your ticket. All right, James. If anybody's new, maybe I should explain the wheel. Sometimes I forget to do that. All right, basically, if you get the question, you answer the question right, then you get to spin. If you land on a 1, you win 1 lure. If you land on a 2, you win 2 lures. If you land on Mr. Bass, that's the jackpot, so you win 3 lures. If you land on the X, your name goes in for the drawing, but you strike out. You don't get any lures. If you land on the mystery square, the mystery slice, I usually pick a prize that I'm giving away on the mystery slice. And today I have my Mr. Bass box. Where is my Mr. Bass? Oh, here it is. My Mr. Bass box. It's a mystery. What could be in here? I think if you guys knew what was in here, you'd really want to win this. But see, I'm not giving any clues. I haven't broken it open. It's just a box. So if you land on the mystery slice, that's what you win one time, and then that becomes an X. Yeah. Yeah, Dave. Just throw the old 10XD plug down there, and when you land a 8-pounder, he will pull you all over the lake. All right, if you land on the Angel, you win a prize, and you get to select one person in the comments to also win a prize. And the only other thing is if you land on KVD, the greatest fisherman of all time, you get a prize out of the KVD crate, which are basically just lures with KVD's name on them. Yeah, if someone wins, Jan, I will break open the Mr. Bass box and show you what's inside. All right, here we go, James Barron. One. Thought he was going to get the Angel. Just missed it. All right, so James, do you want something in the hard baits bucket, something in the soft plastics bucket, or something in the miscellaneous bucket? Spaghetti. Yeah, that old 10XD hook is a big hook. It's kind of like that swim bait I got in my finger. That's a big hook. He wants a Texas-sized hard bait. All right, normally this is random. I just kind of reach back here and pull something out. I'll try to grab what feels like a bigger package. All right. This is big. This is a Jinko Fishing Big Wig hair jig. 1/2 ounce blueback hair jig from Jinko Fishing. The lights are really kind of making it glare, but hopefully you can see it. That is a Texas-sized hair jig for sure, James. Hair jig. Got it. Hair jigs are the bomb, man. So few people use them. So speaking of hair jigs, it made me think of Edwin Evers. Somebody asked me about what YouTube channels you follow. Edwin Evers has a great YouTube channel, by the way. If you guys, I think he's one of the very best teaching pros out there. He does an excellent job teaching techniques. He's really, really good. And he just did one on like his 5 favorite baits for June or something, or 3 baits. I don't remember how many it was. One of them was a hair jig, though. He's really good. He's a good one to watch. Oh, did he? I didn't. I was out fishing today, so I didn't watch. That's good to know. Good to know. Oh, he's on the Tackle Webs pro staff, is he? Hey, Jacob's not the only one. Edwin Evers won up at the St. Lawrence River throwing hair jigs. All right, what else you guys want to talk about? Like I said, man, I don't have a lot prepared tonight. I got so swept up in my fishing. I was gonna prepare, man. I blew it for you guys tonight. 73 pounds ahead of KVD. Dang, I have to go back and watch that. Definitely need to watch that. Okay, one thing that one of the guys wanted me to talk about. This is a good topic. Bass fishing the bluegill spawn. Anybody on here a bluegill spawning expert? What can you tell? What can you tell the newbies out there about fishing the bluegill spawn? The little B, my favorite worm color is tequila sunrise when it comes to those big worms. I know tons of guys say plum, and I do have plum worms. I've thrown plum worms. Plum's fine, but for some reason, I love that tequila sunrise. And Yum makes they make a tequila sunrise, and they also make a tequila sunrise with like a green in it. And they were killing that tequila sunrise green today. All right. Steve says the bluegill spawn is happening in Florida right now. Hey, Gary nailed it. During the bluegill spawn, fish near the bluegill. That's all you need to know. That is it. That is all you need to know. All right. Here's a couple of basic things. Bass love bluegill. They are gonna eat a bluegill whenever they can. If the bluegill are spawning, you definitely want to be fishing around where they're spawning. So how do you find the bluegill that are spawning? The bass get their paycheck during the bluegill spawn. Let's say I'm a brand new fisherman and someone says, hey, you need to go fish the bluegill spawn. How do I even know? How do I find that? How do I locate it? What do I do? You got to find fish before you can catch fish, right? So the first thing you got to do is you got to be able to recognize and find the bluegill spawners. I don't know, John. That's crazy. I shut him down too. At least for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, well, it helps if you got clear water, that's for sure. Because if you got clear enough water to see their beds, you'll see all these these little circles, and they're in shallow spots. You know, they're basically making these beds, and they look like little circles in the all around. And a lot of times they're all grouped together, so you see a bunch of them all grouped together. And yeah, Booster says the dimples look like a golf ball. And yeah, if you got side scan, heck yeah. Stay back and use the top water that imitates bluegill. Those are all good tips too. Basically, if you can find the beds, and you've got some, you know, anytime you're bed fishing, whether you're looking for bluegill beds to catch bass on, or you're looking for bass beds to sight fish, obviously you got to be able to see the beds. Yeah, Gary, that's the next thing I was hoping somebody would say. Whoops, here it is. They start making this popping noise, and you can hear it, and that's a real good sign that the bluegill are on it. And whenever you're fishing bluegill beds, it's it's a shallow water technique, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to put something in and around the bluegill bed that makes the bass think you're a bluegill on the bed or near the bed. Gotcha, Matthew. Thanks, man. And you can throw swim baits in there. You can throw anything really around the beds. But I like to use stuff that kind of imitates the bluegill. I like throwing some of those topwater baits that a topwater frog that in kind of a bluegill color. Anything along the top that will get them excited. Yeah, James, I don't know if I believe that either. But who knows? Yep, a walking bait works great. Also, Matthew's talking about the tiny bull shooter. You know, they've got that baby Bluegill now. The bull shooter that they call the baby Bluegill. That would be a great bait. Just an absolute awesome bait. All around the beds. And that's some fun fishing. You can also do things like I was doing today. You can throw a worm. You can throw a worm up there, and it will get their attention. They will come after a worm on beds, bluegill beds. But I think most guys will try to throw some sort of a topwater around the beds. That's normally what most people do. Really, the hardest part about fishing during the bluegill spawn is just locating them. And not to say that that's super hard, but you got to know what you're looking for. You got to find them, and then when you find them, you can go to town. So that was a good question. Let's see, there was another question that I thought we could talk about. I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, Steve says jackhammer. Well, the jackhammer has some great bluegill colors. Absolutely. Really good ones. All right, let's do another question. Let's see here. All right, I think I'm going to do another name that lure. Should I do a hard one or an easy one? I think I'll do an easy one. Well, the last one I did was pretty easy. So maybe I will do one that's a little harder. Let's do this one here. This one could be hard. Could be hard for you guys. There might be one of you out there, a couple that knows what this is. All right, name this lure. Can you see it? It's not a Sammy. It's too small to be a Sammy. Look how big it is. Okay, John, you're on the right track, and I might actually give it to you. Look what John says. This is actually, I'm going to give it to him. Looks like nobody else had it anyway. It's called the Dog X Junior. The Dog X Junior. Guess who makes the Dog X Junior? It's not a Sammy. It does kind of have a Sammy shape, doesn't it? This is a lot older lure than a Sammy, though. I mean, they still make these, but Megabass makes this. Megabass makes the Dog X Junior. It's a killer little topwater bait. It is a topwater bait, and it works great. Nice job, John Smith. John Smith wins every single week, guys. The guy knows his stuff. Last week, he won a 6 cents movement 80X. Well, I'm going to throw one out there. I'm going to throw one out there, Theodore, that you probably will know. There's a couple here you absolutely should know. The guy knows his Google. You could be right, Roger, but if he does know his Google, he's quick on the trigger. I don't know. I don't know how he's an encyclopedia. John Smith knows his stuff for sure. All right. Let's go ahead and spin while I'm writing up his ticket. John Smith. 1. We've had 3 ones in a row. All right, John, pick your poison. John Gill. I'm convinced John is a robot. John Gill, you're not far behind him, buddy. You're pretty dang good at this game as well. John might be a robot, man. The dude is. He needs to go play Jeopardy or one of those trivia games shows because the dude could probably make $1 million. He wants soft baits. All right. Soft baits, winning worms. All right, let's see if I can find you some winning worms. Winning worms. All right, here's some winning worms. The Ned. This is not the Ned. This is the Ocho. The KVD Ocho in green pumpkin. That should have been in the KVD crate. I thought I'd taken all those out. That's all right. You won fair and square. That's a great bait, by the way, man. The Ocho will winnow you some basso. That Ocho is great. It's great-o. Definitely. Yeah, Mr. Bass speaking Spanish. Oh, Jan, I better stick with English, shouldn't I? Right on, right on. It's all good in the neighborhood. It's all good. Oh, guess what? I think Matthew will be interested in this. I think I've got a bento box coming. I think I do. Yeah, you're right. The best one is still the Puerto Rico spelling. There's nothing better than that. That's going to go down in the archives of the Mr. Bass Show. We're going to see if I actually got a bento box coming or not, because here's what happens. If you try to go order a bento box, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out, right? Sold out. Yeah, they do have depths in there sometimes, Nathan. So this time I go and it says sold out. But it let you select it and order it, and it says on back order. No, I did not see that. Was that on his YouTube channel, Booster? Black jitterbug, a 10-pounder. Man, when you're in Florida, it's like 10-pounders just come out of the woodwork everywhere. Right, Steve? I mean, a 5-pound fish in Florida is a dink. Anyway, the bento box said it said back order, on back order. So I clicked and I paid for it. And the next thing I know, I got a notice saying your order has shipped. So I don't know if it's a fluke or what happened. So we will see. If I get the bento box, I'll show it to you guys. No doubt, Roger. Texas and Florida are great places to fish. So's California, by the way. I'm going to go look that up. I would love to see a 10-pounder caught on a jitterbug. Those hooks are small. So you're saying he was throwing a big jitterbug. Was it like a homemade jitterbug? Because I thought they only came in 2 sizes, and the big jitterbug's not that big. Three hooks in it. Okay, man. I gotta go check that out. There are a lot of lures. Matthew's saying the pike jitterbug. There are a lot of lures made for up north that are really big versions of what we fish with down here. Yeah, I will, Eric. I'll keep an eye on my bank account. That sounds very fun. I'd like to see a 10-pounder on a jitterbug. Same thing. You can go buy a giant whopper plopper that they have for muskie and pike. It's absolutely huge. In fact, that was the first bait they made, was one for up there for the big muskies, and then they downsized the whopper plopper for the bass. Somebody was asking about a $4,000 kayak. What about a $400 rod? How many of you own a $400 rod? How many of you own a $400 rod or would pay $400 for a rod? How many of you think buying a $400 rod is absolutely stupid? NRX. Well, I hate to tell you, Illuminathan, you can't get an NRX for $400. Not to my knowledge. NRXs are 5 and up. 5 and up. Booster says no way. James says stupid. Matthew says 300's max. Theodore says it's stupid, but I still do it. John says it's diminishing return things. Justin says you don't need a rod over $150. Frank says he doesn't have the budget. All right. What if you did have the budget? What if money was no object for you? Do you think you would spend $400 or $500 on a rod? Would you spend $400 or $500 on a rod if you had the money to do it? James says if he's rich, sure he would. Ajo says, heck yeah. Well, if you guys watch my channels, you know I have some really expensive rods, and I have cheaper rods too. I don't know. Can you fish fine with a $150 rod? Absolutely. But I'm telling you, when you fish with one of those, for me, when I fish with one of those more expensive rods, I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know if it's just something where in the back of my mind, I think to myself, wow, this is a $400 rod. That's why I'm catching so many fish. This rod's super sensitive. I definitely have noticed that you can have some super sensitive rods out there. Those NRX rods, those NRX rods are incredibly sensitive. And for certain techniques, they're just amazing. They're also lighter. I think weight's kind of an oversales tactic. This rod only weighs so many ounces. You could fish all day. You know, if you have a rod that weighs, 10 ounces or 12 ounces or compared to 5 ounces, I don't know if that really matters, to tell you the truth. But there's definitely something really cool about an expensive rod. Here's another thing that I think is pretty cool. One of the absolute most awesome rods out there is a rod. I've only got one of these. I had two. I lost one in the lake, unfortunately. It's the Legend Extreme by St. Croix rods. It is an amazing rod. I absolutely love this thing. But I've had this rod now since like 2012. It's my spinnerbait rod, and it's amazing. It has just been fantastic. It has a really different, unique handle on it, though. I absolutely love it. And it started separating. The handle started separating. So I thought to myself, I love this rod. It's like 8, 9 years old now. So I want to keep fishing with this thing. I wish I could get this handle fixed, That's what I'd really like. I'd like to figure out a way to get this handle repaired. So this week I called the company up and I said, hey, I got this NRX rod. And they said, tell us the model number, tell us the serial number. They print their serial number on every rod. I gave them my name and everything and gave them the serial number and the model number. And they said, yep, we're familiar with that problem on that rod. And they said, we can't repair it. We could repair it. They said we could repair it, but it's so expensive to repair. That's really what makes those rods so expensive, is the handle. It's part of it anyway. They said, you're just basically, by the time we spent all the money to repair the handle, it would cost as much as a new rod. So they're giving me a new rod. Now think about that. I fished with that rod since 2012. So that's 8 going on 9 years. And when I bought that rod, I think I paid like $450 for it. I've fished with that thing every single year for 9 years, and now they're giving me a brand new one. They're giving me a brand new one. Was that $400 worth it? Well, some would say, heck no, no way. It's still ridiculous. It's absurd. You're crazy. But I fish a lot. You guys know how much I fish. I have fished that St. Croix Legend Extreme rod to death. And it has never failed me other than this handle separating. And I could still fish with the handle separating. I just thought, man, I'd love to have that fixed. And after almost 9 years, they're like, yeah, we'll just send you a new rod. That's incredible. That is amazing. Most companies are not going to do that for you. But what I will tell you is when you spend $400 or more on a rod, if it breaks, these companies back their products. Shimano does, Megabass does, St. Croix does. These companies in their high-end models, they absolutely stick behind them. I don't have many Daiwa rods, Nathan. I've only got one, and guess what? It broke. I had a guide break off on me, and I haven't fixed it yet. I need to because it's a pretty sweet rod. I'm telling you, if you're spending a lot of money on rods, you better make sure the company has a good warranty program. I got a bunch of NRX rods. I say a bunch, maybe 5 of them that have the wild card. Have you guys heard of the wild card? You know about that? The wild card is the bomb. The G Loomis wild card, they don't do it anymore. It is amazing. What G Loomis does now is they've got some sort of a program where if you're a rod break, you buy an NRX rod and it breaks, they'll replace it, but I think you've got to pay like $50 or something to replace it. But the wild card is actually a card that came with the rod. It looks like a card out of a deck of cards, but it has G Loomis printed on it, and it says wild card on it. And when you got your Loomis rod, you had to keep that card. So I actually keep these cards in my safe. And that card gets you a free NRX rod. No questions asked. When your rod breaks, damaged, whatever happens to it, during the entire life of the rod, it doesn't matter how many years, if you have a wild card, all you got to do is call them up. My rod's broken. I've got a wild card. You send in the wild card, and they send you a new rod. You only get that once because once you send in the card, then it's gone. They have the card. But I've done that on 2 of my rods over the years. You know, even the best rod over the years is going to break at some point. And I had a couple of rods break over the years. And you just break out that wild card, ching, new rod. So really, in theory, you figure I paid $400 for those rods. They were probably like $480, something like that at the time. Now they're over $500. But when I bought them, they were the green ones, and they were probably in that high 400s. And you say $480 for a rod, but really you get 2 rods for $480 because you get the one rod, and then when it breaks, they give you a second rod free. So then that $450 rod really comes down to $225 each. So it's not always as it appears. And I got to say, I love them. I absolutely love them. All right. Time for another Name That Lure. Name That Lure. This one should be easy. I don't know who was asking about an easy one there. We were talking about an easy one, or he was saying, Job, I might can post a picture of the wild card. I will. The reason I say I might, it seems like they have information on there that's specific to your rod. And if I put it out there, but the back side of it might just say wild card. And if it does, I could do that. I could post that, and I will. I'll make a note right now to remind myself. Post the wild card on Instagram. The reason they stopped doing that is because Shimano bought G. Loomis. And when Shimano bought G. Loomis, they're like, we're not doing that wild card anymore. All right. This is, you guys, I'm doing this to help you out. I'm giving you an easy bait. But here's your problem. You're going up against some of the Canadian Johns and other guys that are super fast. So you got to be like super quick on the trigger. So I'll give you a countdown. Make a note, too, to check out Toxic Baits. All right, I will. Toxic Baits. Got it, Illuminathan. All right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Bam. Easy. This is easy. John Gill, the Canadian, got it. I told you guys, the Canadian Johns, man, they're fast. And they live further away than any of the rest of you guys do. Can you believe it? It's the dark sleeper. I talk about this all the time. I got videos, all kinds of videos on the dark sleeper. We talk about the dark sleeper on our live streams all the time. It's one of my favorite baits. I can't get any easier than that, Theodore. Sorry, buddy. I know, Matthew, you were lightning fast, and somehow John Gill beat you to the punch. That is amazing. Must be something up in the water up in Canada, right? All right, John, there's your ticket. Here we go, John. One, another one. It's a one night. All right, I got to go find Bryson. He says he was first. Okay, Bryson, you were third, buddy. John was first. Matthew was second. You were third. Sorry, man. And I think everybody can confirm that. John was first, then Matthew, then Bryson. All right, John Gill wants miscellaneous. All right. The half ounce Booyah swimming jig and tin foil. That color is called tin foil. How about that? Booyah swimming jig. Congratulations, lightning fast John Gill. Hey, for those of you who don't know John, John's a teenager too, man. He's not an old dude that should be full of fishing knowledge. John's like 15 or 14 years old, and that dude knows his stuff. No, who's on second? Bryson was the first to spell it right. Oh, man. Well, we don't penalize for spelling errors usually, as you guys know. Yeah, James, I hear you, buddy. That is part of the issue with me, too. All right, man, we're about out of time here. Let's do a couple of more name that baits. All right, I'll do a couple more that I think are easy here. Try to help some of you newbies or some of you guys that now this one here, you've got to tell me the brand on this one, right? All I care about is the brand. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it's a spinnerbait. You just tell me the brand. Go. What's the brand of this spinnerbait? This is a very well-known spinnerbait company out there. It's very it's very well known, and there you go. There you go. Job got it first. War Eagle. How do you know this is a War Eagle? Their head. The War Eagle head is very specific and very easy to identify. This is a War Eagle spinnerbait. You guys had some good guesses. But Job got it first, and guess what, guys? You're not going to believe this. Where do you think Job's from? You're not going to believe it. That's right. Job's a Canadian. I'm telling you what, these Canadians, man, they know their bass fishing. They are like the Japanese. All right, Job, got your ticket in the barrel. Good job, man. Obviously, the Canadian internet is faster than the U.S. internet. All right, here we go. Spinning for Job. Oh, Job hit the 2. That's the first winner we've had other than a 1. I thought he was going to get the red X there for a minute. Yeah, you might be right, Theodore. I'm in Kansas City, which is kind of the center of the country. But if you're in the southern tip of Florida, then Canada's closer to me. Yeah, he almost got the Mr. Bass mystery box. He was close. He was close, wasn't he? Okay, Job. What? Canucks have 7G. Maybe they do, man. I don't know. It's amazing. He wants a hard and a soft. Okay. Here's a hard. And let's see what we got soft-wise. All right. Hard-wise, we've got the Basic Hellboy. This color is called Cash Money. The Basic Hellboy. And soft plastics, we've got V&M Wild Thing. The V&M Wild Thing. And green pumpkin as well. The Pork Shad 2.0. The V&M Wild Thing series. In case you're wondering what a pork shad looks like, I'll actually take it out and show you. Just a soft jerk bait, which will work great in Canada, by the way. Definitely works well in Canada. You make my heart sing. All right, I'm trying to give you guys easy ones. All right, we're down to 10 minutes. So in order to help a couple other people win, I'm going to do 2 more. All right, this is kind of an old school bait. So who knows? Some of you guys might have a shot that don't have a shot on the other ones. All right, this is a soft plastic bait. It's old school. I will tell you, just to kind of make this maybe easier for some, this has a hollow belly. This is not a new bait. I know there's a lot of companies who make new ones. This is hollow, and that might help you with the answer. What do they call this? What do they call it? It's not a Bastrix. Gary got it. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate the support. Gary, Mr. Old School himself from N5KDA. This is the Yum Money Minnow. This is one of the very first like mass-produced hollow-bodied, hollow-bellied swim baits. It's called the Money Minnow. Congratulations, N5KDA. You nailed it. Harry just wants his name in the drawing. He doesn't want a lure. N5KDA, by the way, is a custom lure painter himself. And if some of you guys are watching my channel, you saw some of the lures he sent me. He's pretty good. Pretty good. I think he told me he's a retired police officer. N5KDA. I started to do it wrong, but I got you good there. Put you in the drawing for the KVD Quantum Smoke Reel. That's right. This is what we're giving away when I hit 5,000 subs. So we got 2,000 to go, if you can believe it. We're getting there, though. We're getting there. So James says Bastrix was the first hollow belly, hollow body. Good job. Good job. All right. Last one we're doing tonight. This, in my mind, is an easy one too. It should be. I'm kind of giving you a hint here, although a lot of baits do this. Can you hear that? Here we go. Here it is. What could that be? It's not a rattle trap. Booster. Dude, you nailed it. It's the red eye shad. And guess what? This one doesn't have red eyes. Lipless crankbait, but it's not the rattle trap brand. Strike King makes this. The red eye shad. KVD made this thing famous. He started winning tournaments on this bad boy. Booster in the house, representing. Another old school angler right there, representing. Booster C, I got your name. Got you a ticket for the reel drawing. It's in the tumbler. He recognized the sound. How about that? Booster knew what it was before he even saw it. It does have a very unique sound. Good job, man. You ready to spin, Booster? Spin to win. Booster C. Our first strikeout of the night. Bah, bah, bah. Oh, well. At least you're in for the drawing, Booster. You got a shot at the reel, buddy. Sometimes the Mr. Bass channel just isn't fair. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. That's right. Booster got Gary's X. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for tonight, guys. Thanks for hopping on and keeping the conversation going. What could be in the Mr. Bass mystery box? What could be in here? I can't really shake it, but I think it's pretty sweet what's in that box. Somebody's got to win that thing at some point. Thanks for watching, guys. Please be sure to join us Wednesday night when we're doing our Bassmaster Classic preview show. It's going to be great. And Ken the Man Duke is going to be on as well. It's going to be a great, great show. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you catch some fish. Thanks again for all the support. all the love. Have a great night. And until next time, happy fishing. Yeah, I need a gong when we hit an X. Good idea, Greg. Have a good one, guys. We're ending in 3, 2, 1. Good night.